everybody. For those who don't know me, my name is Vlad. Today, I will give a short talk about things that we did, mainly for the 1.5 years for now, but it came eventually to the previous 3 weeks when we removed Angular JS and introduced the AOT build to our engaged dashboard application. So this is the result of the refactoring and the migration. So it's like the Mona Lisa of every engineer, right? When you see this drop of the metrics. So before the change, our application, the Angular part of the application bootstrapped for about 3 seconds. And after the change, in less than 200 milliseconds. Imagine the effect on the user. So what we are measuring, we're using the performance API that will be soon in Node, as Daniel said. So we are marking the point before we telling Angular to bootstrap the application, and when the first component of the application, the root component, loads, we tell Angular, we mark the end of this process. So what we did, of course, we removed Angular JS from the application. Before that, we had a hybrid application, and now we have only Angular. So this gives us some boosting factor because we don't need to load 2 frameworks. And the other one is AOT. Who is familiar with AOT and know what it's doing? Okay, good. All right, so what is AOT? So to understand what is AOT, we need to look at the Angular template. It's the main feature of Angular, right? We can do this strange attributes on our templates and it generates codes for us. If we take this template and throw it to the browser, it will ignore the NGE or NG4 because it doesn't know what it is. What Angular is doing is it reads the template and generating behind it some code. So there are this process of moving the template to something that the browser understands. It's called compilation, and Angular has 2 compilers, JIT compiler and AOT compiler, which stands for just-in-time and ahead-of-time compilation. Other languages have it as well. You can do in-memory compilation or offline compilation. And the first compiler, the default compiler that Angular uses is the just-in-time compilation, which just takes the string, the template. You can see the example here. We're just importing a URL, which holds a template, which this one. Angular takes it as a string, and in runtime, it parses it and compiles it. Of course, this is something that takes time to do. On the other hand, the AOT compiler, it takes the same template and converts it to something that the browser understands. JavaScript and HTML tags that the compiler, that the browser knows. So it's not something that is readable, but it's surely makes the process faster because we're doing all the compilation during the build phase and not in runtime. So 2 effects. We don't need to compile the code in production. And the second one is that we can remove the compiler from our bundle. I mean, it's not shipped to production. So the compiler model that is being used in JIT is not longer needed in production. So it reduces our bundle size as well. So this is AOT. And currently is a version of the compiler called Renderer 2. And before that, there was just Renderer. And the next version is Ivy. If you heard about it, it tries to reduce the bundle size. This is the whole purpose of Ivy. So if you take this template, for example, not in Ivy, in the Renderer 2 output would produce something like that. Again, it's not something readable, but you see it's really verbose and has a lot of code. In Ivy, the same template would look like so. So it's much less code, and they promise that it will reduce the bundle significantly. I think that at this point, a hello world application of Angular with the whole framework and the router and all the stuff will be 10K. So it's real small. That's all. If you have any questions, yes.
I know that in Java, for example, there are advantages for just-in-time compiler. So from what you have described, it looks like AOT is much better or much more efficient because you can do it in real time. Why not use it?
Okay, so why not use it in dev time? It's just slower. The compilation process is slower because it's running offline. So it's slower because this is why we're doing it offline. While you're developing, you don't want to use the AOT compiler because it's slower. So you will use the JIT compiler. So this is one advantage. I try to think about other advantages of not using AOT and using.
For example, Java on server, for example, if you only optimize paths that actually user use, so you can do like optimization, runtime optimization that you don't know when you do compilation.
I don't think this is. I think it's different than the Java compiler because it just compiles the templates on this part of the process. So it's not looking on your tree of your code. It just looks on the template, which are in your path of build, and that's all. But you need to do things differently when you're using AOT. You need to be much more declarative about entry components, for example, components that will load dynamically. So you need to put them in some entry paths like it. You have to be more declarative. And in just-in-time compiler, you might use it and you won't even know that you need to add them there. But in AOT, it just will break the application. So you need to be much more careful. Yeah.
Talk more about what you have to do to get it.
Yeah, if you are using the Angular CLI, you don't have to do anything, just to run the build, the production build. We had to add another loader to our Webpack because we're building our application manually. We are owning the build, so it's just another loader. That's all. We found a few bugs after we migrated, but it's just another loader in Webpack.
How many kilobytes is saved by removing the compiler?
It's hard to say because after the migration we did other few things, but it's not that significant that we thought. It's much less significant. We introduced other libraries and we didn't see any. I think it was about a few kilobytes, not something special. Anybody else?
Yes,
yeah.
So if your application was loaded, sliced into components that are being loaded dynamically, would the effect be the same, or it's?
I'm not sure.
So if your application was modeled like, you load only the dashboard page first, and all the other subcomponents loaded only when the user clicks on it.
Yes, I'm not sure that it relates to AOT in some way.
The graph that you showed earlier is very impressive.
Yeah.
I'm asking whether it will be the same effect if the application is loaded, only parts one by one, not the entire application.
I believe it will, especially with just-in-time compiler, which needs to read all the templates and compile them in runtime. If you have smaller bundles and you are pulling them only on demand, so it probably boosts the performance as well. But still, I don't think it's so relevant to AOT or JIT. It's just like there is another way to boost performance is splitting your bundles to multiple chunks when it makes sense to do this. So we are doing it with the organic campaign, for example, and we will do this with the feed generator. Okay, thanks.